Good day everyone, I am Cardinoza, and today I will discuss one of the most powerful speeches in Philippine history. Corazon Aquino began her speech by recalling how 3 years earlier, she had come to America in to bury her husband Benigno Ninoy Aquino Jr. At that time, she believed she had also buried his dream of a free Philippines. She said, 3 years ago, I left America in grief to bury my husband. Today, I have returned as the president of a free people. This line symbolized how the country had transformed from despair to freedom. In her speech, Aquino said that when the Filipino people buried Ninoy, the entire nation honored him. She explained that by giving honor to her husband, the people also recovered their own dignity as a nation. She said, "In giving, we receive. In losing, we find. And out of defeat, we snatch our victory." This line meant that through their suffering and sacrifices, Filipinos found strength and faith once again. Ninoy's death awakened a nation that had lost hope. Aquino described Ninoy as both a national symbol and a personal loss. She said that for the Filipino people, Ninoy became the pleasing sacrifice that answered their prayers for freedom. But for her and her children, he was a loving husband and the father. This contrast showed that behind every national hero lies a family that suffers silently. Aquino recalled the first time her family lost Ninoy during martial law in 1972. She narrated how President Marcos turned from a leader into a dictator, suspended the Constitution, and shut down the Congress, which was similar to the one she was addressing in America. Ninoy, along with senators, journalists, and citizens who spoke out for democracy, was imprisoned. This marked the beginning of his long and cruel ordeal under the dictatorship. Aquino emphasized that even as the dictatorship destroyed the institution of freedom, the press, the courts, and the Bill of Rights, Ninoy kept their spirit alive in himself. Aquino described in detail the cruelty Ninoy endured in prison. He was locked in a small, nearly airless cell in a military camp in the north. He was stripped naked, humiliated, and constantly threatened with execution. For 43 days, the authorities refused to tell Aquino or her children what had happened to him. Yet, despite the isolation and fear, Ninoy remained strong. He faced every indignity with courage, believing that someday the truth would set his country free. It put Ninoy on trial before a military commission, accusing him of subversion and murder. In protest, he began a hunger strike, refusing food for 40 days. He said that if he survived, it meant God had other plans for him. Aquino said that through this, her husband showed the strength of his faith and his willingness to die for truth and justice. Aquino explained that at any time, Ninoy could have accepted offers of freedom in exchange for silence. But he refused. He said, the spirit of democracy that inheres in our race and animates this chamber could not be allowed to die. Aquino recalled the most painful moment, Ninoy's assassination in 1983. She said his death was my country's resurrection in the courage and faith by which alone they could be free again. In the final part of her speech, Ninoy's sacrifice gave birth to a revolution that restored freedom. By standing before the U.S. Congress, Aquino represented not only herself, but the entire Filipino people. A nation that had proven that faith, courage, and unity can defeat tyranny. Her speech reminded the world that democracy can be restored, not through violence, but through the collective strength of people who refuse to give up.